Greetings. I wrote down some notes for the folks that volunteered to do the main stations, earthquake stabilization main stations. There are specific steps to take, and in learning from the past, I didn't want to forget any details. So, because I ran into several hiccups with the outside setup that were kind of unknown to me at the time, that had consequences, I would like to set it up so that it's easy care. And by I mean whoever is setting it up, so that they wouldn't run into the problems that I had to, like dealing with fire ants. And don't worry, if you don't have them, perhaps you will get them. So you don't want that. But one of the ideas was first in choosing the land or the area of the land that you're going to put it on. It is recommended that it is on an angle so that the water runs down when it rains. It's very simple. It doesn't have to be quite a steep, it could just be enough. But if it's pouring, you don't want the water getting stuck under the pyramid and touching the earth to the bottom of the pyramid. There's only to be the acestolite quartz. And you might think, well, what's the big deal? The big deal are the consequences. If you watch the short videos, it's like 26 or 27 of them. In the description of either this video or the one I have with the welcome on the page, you will quickly understand what it all happens. This was repeat situations. So in order to avoid fire ants, avoid grass growing, avoid anything from coming from underneath and going up to the pyramid, I thought of using cement tiles, 9 cement tiles all around the project, where in the center the acestolite quartz would go with the pyramid on the top, pretty much like here. I sort of, quote unquote, measured the sides of the bottom of the pyramid as 12 centimeters. And then I measured the heights of the pyramid, not the angle here or here, but the heights, which was around 9 centimeters. And they don't have to be exactly in that size, but the proportions need to be comparable. The shape of the pyramid, it has to kind of be a Giza-shaped pyramid. So any pyramid builder that is going to assist in making main stations is going to need this and get an approximate idea of the different distances. For example, the acestolite quartz rocks that I put under the pyramid, which would go on top of the cement tiles, they are about a third in height of the pyramid. So those proportions you need to kind of keep in line with what you're doing. The other idea is to fill out the cracks with cement, so making it an airtight type of situation where no grass can grow or not easily, and that it can be trimmed around the edges so you don't have to worry about it growing into the project. Yeah, it may not be the ideal thing, but cement tiles are not the prettiest thing to look at. Cement tiles are pretty close to conductive like ground in that sense. They might change a tiny bit, but the energy of the generator and the Accu-vac and the interaction of both should be no problem. So this will cut back on a lot of trouble, whether it's grass growing, water running under, which I ended up hosing. No, fire ants. I had to hose down, I had to treat, so I had to move the top of the pyramid. That was causing difficulties. Now I have a generator here, and the one that goes inside the pyramid is usually not tied. I never weld my pieces, by the way, because that gets the energy stagnant. So I have a sample here of one that's tied. Could it be put in a pyramid tied? It sure could. But since it's going in permanent, and when you put it in the cement, you would just let both ends be very close, and we already know that the energy bridges, we're looking at a smaller piece of equipment to go inside the pyramid in the center. That's one of the basics of the pyramid. There are some things that you have to kind of have. You can have some variables, like in the center of the generator. When I put it in the pyramid, first I do the tip because it's upside down. You put a layer of the center goodies, as I call them. Then you put your generator. Then you fill it up in here again, and then you do it on top. And by the center goodies, I mean things like very small bionized crystals, very small pieces of metal, whatever. I send a mix usually so that people will have the right mix they can add to it, different things. So this said, if you don't like to build your own pyramid, there are people that will build them for you, and I am very grateful to say that 2 people have volunteered, but I am still looking for more folks, at least one in each state. This pyramid is about 2.8 pounds, if I recall it right, and mailing a piece this heavy really far, it can get very pricey. So it's a lot easier to have someone at least nearby or within a reasonable distance so that the shipping doesn't turn out to be crazy on these things. The reason why I don't weld the pieces is because after a year or so, I've been told that the energy gets stagnant. This comes from some of the customers that in the past were telling me they had acquired other pieces, and when I asked them if they were welded, they said yes. So that's an old one, but I'm kind of putting it out there as food for thought. The quartz that goes under it, I used acestatolite quartz. If that's a problem, you can use local rocks. Buy a few um, uh, crystals, cheap quartz crystals. You can see we're bionizing crystal where David posted on the site how he's doing it, and he has enough that he could actually deliver the bionized crystals to someone else if they wanted to do this. So that was one part of it, the distances. Now, under the pyramid, and I have videos about this, I have what I call an Accu-vac, very poorly drawn here. I have a larger one here, but this is not the one that needs to be in under the ground because it's by proportion already much larger. So it has to be smaller. I had some old Accu-vacs, and they're now gone. I have a few of the generators around, but they're not the 528 frequency, which is the one that needs to get into the main station. Now, is another generator with a different frequency going to work? Well, it's going to put out other frequencies, beneficial, but we don't know, the outcome exactly. So any project that is done with good intention and give us of good vibes is going to contribute to the grid that we're trying to establish. But to form a grid, we need some main stations that are going to overpower, if possible, and connect with each other and overpower anything that is out there that people are doing, like fracking or like doing a project but accidentally messing up that could cause other problems. So the stronger our grid is, the more of the um, frequencies that match up, that connect, the better we stand a chance of getting to the point where we can again say we're starting to lower the earthquake's magnitude. Now, I'm not saying we're going to erase it. In fact, it's going to be a lot harder to get to the point where I was last year as far as keeping it under 6.0. But every time the top part of the pyramid got moved, within 48 hours or so, and sometimes just hours, I saw major earthquakes above 6.0. So this is going to be quite an undertaking now because it seems like the whole planet's run amok since I had to disassemble my project back last year. Still, it's better we try than we do nothing now that we know what we can do. So this is what the Accu-vac turnback loop, sorry, not the Accu-vac looks like. Again, this is tied, as you can see here, never ever welded. Inside the Accu-vacs, I put a sample in there, and just a quick picture here. So the Accu-vac goes in here. I have made videos of how it all is set up. The Accu-vac is grounded even further into the ground, and we can put it about, let me see, I think it was 21 centimeters. Yeah, 21 centimeters directly under the cement block. Now the cement height counts into it. So if you have a big chunk of cement that's an inch and a half, then you go, or whatever, then you're going to have to discount that from the 21 centimeters. And it's approximate. These are approximate numbers. I just giving you an idea of the space, the proportions, and the distances. So we use a sample of whoever the person is that is going to be grounding themselves, which everyone can have an Accu-vac and ground their energy outside of their home. And if you wonder if this works, I can tell you it works. I felt it. And it was a weird way how I felt it, because I put my Accu-vac with my sample, sorry guys, with my sample inside, inside on top of the ground before I put it in the ground. And as it turns out, I felt it when I was walking by one time, and I thought, whoa, this is really something. So eventually I put it under the ground, because I had a hard time believing that there was anything to this outdoor grounding when I was like maybe, I don't know, 40 yards away in the house. So this is the part that is interesting. There are other specs to consider. To have a main station, you need the Accu-vac and you need the generator from the same hand. And right now it's my hand and it's connecting with each other. The reason why there's some requirements on the what would you call it, the sample, and I'm going to go into it right away. If you would listen to this guide, now I can't turn the sound higher, so you're going to have to listen really close, but it's very interesting.
Back in the 90s, scientists working with the US Army decided to collect DNA samples from some volunteers. They placed the DNA in one room and the volunteers in another. Then they showed the volunteers a range of videos designed to trigger strong emotions, from violent to funny to erotic. But as the participants experienced emotional highs and lows, their DNA showed a powerful electrical response at the same time, like it was still physically connected to the body. But they didn't stop there. Dr. Cliff Baxter, who also worked for the CIA, decided to separate the DNA and the donors even more by 350 miles. But even then, the DNA still reacted instantly to the donor's emotional response, as if distance didn't even exist. Now think about this. When we touch someone, even briefly, a trace of their DNA stays with us. So are we always connected to those we have a physical contact with as long as the DNA remains alive? But also, if our emotions can influence DNA across vast distances, does it mean there's a medium which the emotions travel to influence the DNA? Like an invisible field of energy that connects us all. Interesting, huh?
Well, that is amazing scientific proof that there is something to our contact. Now, if you could not hear this video very well, go on our page at the Earthquake Stabilization group page and scroll way down, and you can find this fellow, and perhaps you can hear it better there. At the moment, I have limited means from where I'm working from, and this is pretty much what I am able to do. The requirements for a main station are specific for different reasons, not because I want them to be here or there. The pyramids require certain basic things, like being made with shungite water. So that would be one of the things that give it the extra conductivity. Having 3 tiny little pieces of shungite on the very top, for example. But there are other things to take into consideration. And so whoever is constructing it, I will have to send details about this. So anyone can be grounded with an Accu-vac, energetic Accu-vac coil and a sample. It's very easy how to have a painful experience, painless, not a painful, a painless experience in extracting the sample, and we can move forward with that. So there's like I said, there are several videos about the pyramid out there, and eventually we'll get to the point where, you know, when someone wants to set up a system or a station at their home or land, we can pass on more. But at the moment, I'm just